writing videos for
Video letter to
ArtScience
ArtScience teachers and students.
Thank you all for listening
Thank
to
you
me,
for listening to
because
me
my English
because
is
I
not
don't
good.
speak good English
And
I
even
don't
if I
do
use
much
my
speaking
native
even in my
Chinese, I
native
have not done
Chinese,
much
so
speech.
I've pre-produced
So
it as a video.
pre-made for food. I mentioned in the class meeting
At the class meeting I mentioned that I wanted to discuss
personal
individual
memory
and collective memory.
The movies and videos that
The
I am most
cinematography
familiar with
videos I'm most
are the
familiar
most
with
intuitive
are
discussions
exactly
on
the
this
most
proposition.
intuitive medium
So
for
why don't
discussing
I
this
get
proposition.
involved in
So
society
why don't I
or
go to
non-current
photography and
narratives
society
or
or
the
non-linear
film
narrative or
academy?
film school?
So I start with
So I'll start by
self-introduction.
introducing myself.
You may already know
As you may already know, I've done some music documentaries, music videos, and other types of videos.
If you're interested, another screen is playing. I originally had a chance to go to Beijing Film Academy. After passing the special exam in those days, I skipped the college entrance exam and went straight to rock music. Joined the only rock video website in the Chinese world at that time. Now this website has disappeared and has become a subject of archaeology for new readers. Later, we and a few like-minded friends set up a music video studio called Geek Shoot Jack. This outrageous name is the one I came up with because we're always together, studying how to shoot rock performances with limited equipment under a situation where there is not much budget. I joined the production of 2 commercial films, thanks to the referral from my movie school friends. Once was in 2015, Jung Won's A Step Away. The video assistant in our department belongs to the 3D team, learned Q-Tag, and serves the whole team by watching replays. At that time, the movie industry just started trying 3D.
There was another time in the year 2021.
The broken bridge of music. The strategy of making a documentary film is about the realism crime genre of social events. The main photography is all around Nikon shooting. It's also very documentary style. I especially like this photographer, 17Jan. I thought I could take this opportunity to make a documentary that reflects the truth of film production. Compared to Ma Yingli's film about the building industry, wind, rain and clouds. But in the end, only a bunch of celebrity behind the scenes and promotional materials came out. Regrettably, both of those films were poorly reviewed when they were released compared to the previous performances. It's hard for me to say I like it. After all, watching the films being produced little by little, can't objectively evaluate as an ordinary movie fan. Moreover, in China, the film censorship system is a big issue. The result is heartbreaking. I think I don't have the ability or ambition to handle a large crew. I can't stand that pressure. I don't want to struggle with investors for making so-called independent films and end up with depression and suicide. So I gave up the idea of entering the film industry, just occasionally doing work for fun. I have a project that has been hiding materials for more than 10 years. I started shooting when I was in high school, but I can't edit it. About several musicians and their overlapping music groups. I want to show it from the year 2005, starting the underground music scene in Beijing, from rock, punk to experimental noise. This group of musicians, born in the science and engineering, and their predecessors and peers' classics. The backdrop of the era of China's reform and opening up, the one-child policy, the review system, and the internet variety shows. There is also about the influence of Japanese, Korean, and Western culture on Chinese youth subculture.
Even ran away.
Leave immigrants gender and mental health. So too ambitious but limited ability. Many sensitive issues did not be discussed, such as Kathy House's song, which is very upright from the title. If they get injured, it may lead to their ban. The logic of being unable to self-censor is deeply rooted. In addition, I have a few that haven't found the editing ideas, but slightly. A more sober project, like an old woman in Kunming, who runs a drama group, and the beautiful ones around her. Since the Spring Festival of 2017, I was bored at my dad's house in Kunming, so I looked around. Is there any local performance to watch? Then I found that a lot of self-media TV stations have reported this folk drama troupe.
He was in the vegetable market at that time.
Those reports all emphasize preserving traditional arts. It's made very tragic, but I'm just right for Coachella.
Not really interested in energy.
I don't want to just make a conventional character piece. After all, my love for opera is completely wild and consumes dragons. Just like movies.
Watch Leslie Chung's performance.
Picking opera. Like to read Bai Xianyong's novels and listen to Kung Ku. I just intuitively found this old lady interesting. She speaks in a gruff and lively manner. He will complain about the government, complain about competitors, keep swallowing yabi. He loves opera, but he's not serious. He never sits up straight to watch the act.
Also leading the mahjong? The sound of mahjong is louder than the stage.
She also has a deceased husband who seems to be a soldier with a son and a grandson, but they never appeared. But I don't understand the Kunming dialect. I can only half understand, so I film intermittently. In any case, saying this just exposes the biggest problem in my work, which is that I don't know how to end it from a hunch. Anyway, when he was in China, he always stayed in his comfort zone with acquaintances, thinking is really disastrous. What's the point of using more and more advanced cameras and working with China's top artists? But I don't have the talent and courage to confront the system, like some artists I admire. So I once fell into intense self-doubt and despair. The year 2019, before the COVID-19 pandemic, to combat this despair, I went on a bicycle trip over 3,000 kilometers, traveling from Tianjin through northeast China and inner Mongolia to Xi'an. And for 3 years during the COVID pandemic, I spent most of my time in Yunnan, either in Kunming or Dali, basking in the sun, feeding pigs, raising dogs, pretending everything is peaceful, but actually still not reconciled inside. I have to do something. I hope this explains why I came to the Netherlands, to ArtScience.
You have now become Mike Sterling.
In the early years
Look
of
at yourself in the mirror.
VR's rise, I didn't embrace it. Initially, I thought it was just as addictive and boring as online games. I only realized its power after watching several VR movies recently. At the Bifa Documentary Film Festival, I watched a VR work about the trauma of the Ukrainian war. You will stand in the ruins after the war. This person who has lost his home, face to face with you, staring into your eyes. There is also a work about vestibular migraine and ataxia. You will feel the breakdown of sense of direction and balance. You can't really appreciate this just by watching the 2D preview. I recently read in the news about a performance in London. Kakami. It's a collaboration between Team Drum and Version Dragon 1, using mixed virtual reality to let the audience watch version 1 of the Dragon's performance. The founder said, "Everything started from my admiration
So we've
for
made 3
Ban
pieces
Yufei.
so far.
This also applies to me.
Built
I
off
want
of
to have the things I like, unique experiences,
with the marina
stored in
piece,
memory,
people routinely
even written in
cry.
history.
People feel
I
changed.
want to share some
I don't know if
experiences
that's
with more
us or
people."
Marina, probably both. Medusa.
By the way,
which
today is
released
Mr. Pandomichi's
as
birthday.
artificial,
Wish him a happy
yo-yo.
birthday. Shoulder wide kick, the sound part is also very heavy. I first met Rento when I was recording with the Snapline band a few years ago, and I encountered him a few months ago. Friends of computer music use SoundMic. I recorded the performance for him with binaural recording. I only tried it myself recently, and I suddenly thought about it during the process. I've been thinking about what could be done after hearing some classmates have been subjected to racial discrimination and sexual harassment. The first reaction is naturally to make a statement of call. That short film has not been implemented yet. I'm thinking too, the victim doesn't necessarily have to leave the country. We should avoid causing secondary trauma. Let the missing visual evidence be absent. Technically, I have no successful attempts. There is nothing to show, but I'm thinking we are not politicians or judges to change society from a policy perspective. But for the sake of this creates a better society, my vision is to create empathetic experiences that evoke compassion.
Sometimes I think about becoming a police officer because of watching crime shows.
Later found that work can't always uphold justice. When I was in middle school, I came into contact with some news publications and thought about becoming an investigative reporter and war photographer. Of course, none of them became. I think these unfinished ideals can be weakened a bit. Based on the similar idea, I also want to simulate the experience of a bicycle trip suitable for public spaces or spaces like prisons, hospitals, where people's freedom of movement is restricted.
Subtitles provided by the Amar.org community.
It's for those who are burdened by money, illness or work, family ties. A person who can't run a sweet and sour trip feels immersive. Let's improve everyone's physical and mental health. I hope that future creations can integrate these documentaries, VR, and theater performances. Looking forward to the upcoming light design and programming.
I'll make an extension.
To explore Mars more, I think the only thing that
Looking
we've demonstrated
forward to
is
your
that we're very
feedback.
good at destroying the habitability
Even
of
if I
Earth,
can't respond in time,
rather
I
than
will
improving the
record
habitability
everyone's
of the
feedback
alien
and
world.
listen to it
A bit
again,
like saying that you're
and
going to
keep
go
the
live in a lifeboat.
conversation via email.
Even lifeboats need somewhere to land.
Not well thought out.